really, aside from the sequence where Blondie and him and Tuco, are with the Civil War, with the Greycoats and the bridge and the explosion in that movie. I mean, that was probably the biggest sequence in that movie. It wasn't really a giant. It wasn't really a war movie. So that being said, like I don't want to spoil anything because there's some really good moments in it. There's a lot of fun, playful things like in Kill Bill with the way the editing is. Like there's things with the editing that were very playful. Like if you see the movie, the Day Watch and the Night Watch movies, that they would play around with the subtitles and do stuff. And I hope in a way, I hope Tarantino finds a way to play around with the subtitles in a way, because there is a lot of subtitle work which I like, but I'm sure audiences won't like, because usually when you do a movie that's with German people, they all speak English. In this movie, they do switch back and forth from German to English, but it stays pretty consistent. Germans speak German, French speak French. It's not kind of French-American, German-American speaking, It's so I hope that there's an employment of like what Night Watch did, where they use subtitles and like they throw the meat, and then the meat would hit the subtitles, and just find creative ways to mess around with the subtitles, because I do have a feeling that if it's just like, people are going to be a little bit like, I'm reading, and that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that, but I can see how American audiences are just going to be like, I have to read now. I have to read this man now. That it'd be interesting to see if like I always remember in Day Watch that the reading was good, but I remember those little touches of what they did with the subtitles. People really responded, and it was like interesting. And now you see shows like Fringe and like the text with computers you're able to do things with text now, that it's not just text on screen. You're able, with these 3D animation things, you're able to do things with subtitles that you never were able to do with before, if you find really cool creative ways of doing them. Not flashy, but just little things that you're like, oh, that was that was cool, or that was like a small things. So hopefully it's not distracting, but like I said, that's something, since there's a lot of subtitles. Other than that, I mean, I generally like it. I mean, I was expecting, like I said, I was expecting this super huge thing, and it was like think smaller, and it came out smaller, and I really liked it. All in all, I was thinking also something. One of the main bad guys who I thought in my mind, I was thinking is Steve Buscemi, because the way that he had, just the way that the first sequence plays out, where they have a conversation about rats and why the Jews. Because, well, Jews, why they're like rats and squirrels, and there was like a conversation that it kind of reminded me of like Steve Buscemi's the No Tipping, where he's like waiters and people at McDonald's. When I was reading the script, I had not gone to IMDb. I was already in my mind picturing. I was picturing Steve Buscemi as the bad guy, and that kind of stayed with me. And I was thinking, oh, he'd probably be good. That'd be weird for Steve Buscemi to play. I think it was Landa or Leda. I think it was Landa. I have no idea now. I'll see if I can look here. I'm looking. Let me see. I think it was Colonel. Yeah, Landa, Hans Landa, and then that was. I know they cast someone else. That's cool. I don't care, but like just for me, I was thinking the whole time that Steve Buscemi. So that was weird. Other than that, I mean, if you want to know what the movie's about, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's you have it's kind of like it's like a western, It's like I guess without spoiling, I'll say it in a western way. Let's say there was a girl Oh no, let's not say girl. Let's say there was a main character, and this main character's family was gunned down, and then they hatch a revenge plot to get back at the bandits that killed the family. I mean, that's pretty much, there's nothing spoiling there. That happens in a lot of westerns and that's a lot of revenge tales. And that's basically, except this one is more like, if you've seen True Romance, it takes place in a movie theater, so it's more, you see that definitely Tarantino likes to make the setting in, a movie theater, an actual, the main action set piece is a movie theater, which is a world that Tarantino knows a lot about, since he's, essentially a big film buff, big film enthusiast. I know he has his own projection room, and he projects these old kind of movies. That was something nice to see, that he was kind of drawing from his own experience and not trying to, because usually if you try and write a World War or something movie, you just look at other movies, versions of like, okay, that's what World War II is. I gotta write within World War II. That it was nice to see, like that. It was a breath of, I think it was the second or third chapter. I don't recall what it was called. That it was like a German Night or whatever, and it was, you saw that it was like True Romance, where you see the characters are a lot of it's taking place in a movie theater, and I was going, well, that makes sense. That's where a person that age would probably end up going, is to the movie theater. And usually, in, like I said, in other versions of, they wouldn't go to a movie theater. That's like if you were in a, like it's like you wouldn't go to a movie theater. You'd be like, oh, movie theater. It would be some house, or it's like imagine Anne Frank in the movie theater, and it's like you're not. Oh, that's not a place that because this a lot of things happen in the script that technically, I'm sure if you look at the actual real life continuity, things happen, and especially at the end, it's this crazy. It totally is like just it's kind of like its own off way of saying, okay. The things that happen here are about as historically accurate as the movie Deep Impact. So if you believe that an asteroid and Morgan Freeman was president, then you're probably going to, when you watch this movie, you're probably going to think that that was actually a historical element, and it's not. It's just, it's sort of, and I like that about the movie. I like that it is kind of like with Grindhouse and stuff, that it was like it's not really the real version of what happened. It's not Patton. We're not literally, there's mention to those people. There's talk about those people. That in a way, it is kind of like, we're Watchmen, we're like Richard Nixon, and you've got Osterman and the both of them, and in like a comic book, and it's like kind of that version. That it's like it's not really taking itself seriously in that world. There's a lot of fun with, Jews, finally, I guess in a way, fighting back, which is something that you don't really see in these World War II movies. Because when usually when you watch World War II movies, you always see, the Germans and the Nazis are always, just destroying these Jews, and you always kind of wonder, well, they never show anyone fighting back. You never see any Jews fighting back or taking revenge back on the Nazis. It's always like anonymous soldier, or they're always hiding from, people always in fear of the Nazis, and this movie is not that. Like, there are Jew Americans, that's what they're called, the bastards. They do fight and kick some Nazi ass, and that's nice, but I personally felt from a reading, it didn't go as far as I thought it would go. Like, I never, there's no Rambo. Like, the bastards are supposed to be the Rambos of Nazi killing, and you don't see that, and that's fine. I get, like, it doesn't really work into the story. It was fine what I read, but like, that's another thing. If like, there weren't, I never thought like, oh, that's the Rambo. Like, it's a lot of it's off screen. Like, okay, they were like possibly already talking now. If there was a spin-off, if there was a kind of, what were the bastards